Mercy. Chapter 10. Corey and I dragged our shadows from the bleachers after Jerome and Scott left. "I'll see you later," Corey bid in a sorrowful whisper. When he pulled his hands from his pockets to punch my forearm in friendship, they were wet with sweat. "I gotta get out of these clothes." His shirt tail hung sloppily from his pants. "Okay, don't worry too much, Corey. It's really not bad." I risked a return home, sneaking up the lawn like a ninja. I heard Mom in the backyard where I suspected she was splashing water on her new tomato plants. I slipped unnoticed through the front door, stripped my body of my Sunday clothes, sniffed the pile of t-shirts on my bedroom floor to find the cleanest smelling one, pushed my legs into some old pants, and tiptoed to the kitchen. There I opened the refrigerator, and the light shone on my face. I poured a glass of pineapple smoothie, scoured the pantry for a bag of pretzels, and crept away from the house. I had 2 hours before my rendezvous with Jessica. I still couldn't see Joey, who was probably wondering where I was. I was considering how to fill my time when a car pulling a trailer stopped in the middle of the street. The driver's door opened. "Git!" a voice growled as a hand deposited a small collie on the road. The door closed and the car drove off, shifting smoothly into second and third. It rattled around the corner, leaving a small puff of blue smoke hanging in the air. I scampered up to the dog, which seemed dazed and shrunken as if it had gone through the hot cycle of a washer. "You okay?" The dog's eyes were momentarily crossed, an ear was flopped in a strange way. "Are you okay?" I repeated. I bent down, adjusted the ear, and let the dog sniff my hand. "Come on," I warned when I heard an approaching car, but then I recognized the car and realized that it was no danger. It was Mrs. Pinker, a widow for as long as I could remember, and the grandfather of Colonel Homer J. Pinker, founder of the town. Mrs. Pinker drove a long Oldsmobile and was responsible for most of our town's air pollution. The thing smoked like a locomotive. I led the little collie to the curb, where I checked his tags. Her name was Tammy, and she lived at 237 Vine Street. "How come they did that?" I inquired. It was a question only the owner could answer. My mind began to spin with theories of why she had been abandoned. The owner was moving out of town. That's why the trailer was piled with stuff and didn't want to take the dog. What a loss, I thought. What meanness. After all, little Tammy was young, frisky, and very polite. As distinguished ambassador for her special kind, shrunken collies, she shook my hand 3 times. She fetched. She rolled on her back to bicycle her legs. She was multi-talented. "Let's see if I can get you back home." Tammy wheeled up on her hind legs, dropped back on all fours, and trotted at my side, occasionally looking up at me at what I judged to be appreciation. No, friendship. No, just plain old love. "You're such a nice dog," I cooed. Soon we were on Vine Street, one of the rougher neighborhoods in Pinkerton. Some of the houses had cars parked on dead lawns. Porch lights were on in the middle of the day, and one house, long neglected Christmas tree lights hung sloppily from eaves and were winking pale anemic colors. The door, I noticed, was open and slipping off its hinges. Within its walls beat heavy metal music. At another house, a blanket was hung like drapes on the front window. And was that a toilet sitting in the porch? A baby sat on a rusty swing. No, it was just a plastic doll with the eyes closed. I located the house. The door was open and flies, like sentries, guarded its entry. "Hello?" I called nervously from the porch. "Hello? Hello?" I pushed the doorbell, but it failed to ring. My heart beat hard. I swatted away a few muscular flies, struggling to use my nose as a resting spot. Tammy entered the house, barking her hello. "Tammy, get out of there!" I slapped my thighs, clicked clicked my tongue as I beckoned her. I finally trumpeted through cupped hands. Come on, Tammy! Get out of there! But Tammy disappeared into one of the rooms. I stood on the porch, boxing flies from my face, debating whether or not to follow. What if I had a confrontation with a toothless criminal cradling a shotgun in his tattooed arms? He would be mumbling, Glad you came, sonny. I took a chance. I leaned in the doorway and called, Anybody home? The house creaked. Anybody home? I repeated louder. The living room was filled with dirty couch, folding chairs, a gooseneck lamp, boxes of old clothes, 3 large plastic bags filled with empty beer and soda cans, stained pillows, dozens of coffee cans set against the far wall, and just plain trash. The place held the smell of abandonment. I entered by taking one long, careful step, and then another. Where are you? Tammy, where are you? I tiptoed to the kitchen where I discovered her licking a dry plastic dish. Tammy, come on, let's go, girl. We peeled out of that house and went back to the market, where I bought a single can of food for my new friend. Outside, at the curb where pigeons congregated, I pulled the tab lid, and the fragrance of meat had Tammy prancing in place. He's cute, Jessica cried joyfully. See? Her name is Tammy. I explained how she had been abandoned. Oh, that's cruel. Jessica petted Tammy's fur and gave her a big hug. Poor Tammy. Then she said, Are you going to keep her? If my mom lets me. 4 o'clock had finally come, and we were seated on Jessica's front lawn. Her mother was washing the front window with a garden hose. It was time to wipe away the winter grime. I'll take her if you can't. Jessica turned her head for a brief moment, watched her mother as she stepped down from a stepladder. If Mom lets me. It was time to reveal why I wanted to speak with her. I hadn't practiced a speech about Joey's finer points, such as the wrestling moves and his loyalty to friends, but I had assumed my words would flow brilliantly. I started, I kind of like, won't you know that Joey, my really good friend, we go to school and we're kind of like, we'll let you. What are you saying? Jessica laughed with her hand over her mouth. You are so funny. I'm saying, like, I kind of like, like Joey, like really cool. I had turned to jelly, weak of body and mind, and I was rushing my words. I was awkward to declare my best friend's romantic intentions. No, nearly impossible. Also, I was scared that Joey might get mad at me for telling. I would have to make Jessica guess what I couldn't say. Maybe charades would get my meaning across. Jessica kindly got me started. It's about Joey, huh? I nodded, and I placed a hand over my heart. He likes the Pledge of Allegiance? I hugged myself to show his loving nature. He's cold. I laced my hands together and batted my eyelashes. He prays, huh? No. He's got something in his eye. She bit her lower lip as she lowered her face and thought deeply. She raised her face. No. He's caught a butterfly and he's about to release it. Frowning, I shook my head. I had done better when my hand was on my heart. I puckered up my face. He ate a really sour lemon? Here I began to hum the Beatles. She loves you. It was one of my mom's favorite songs. I was certain that I was doing a passable imitation when Tammy, who had been sleeping at my side, woke with a yawn. She sat up groggily, raised her nose, and howled. I decided to stop singing. Jessica laughed and petted Tammy's snout. Come on, you can guess, I wheedled. She lowered her face in thought, pulled at a handful of grass, and a moment later she raised her head. Joey likes me? I nodded. I touched my heart and threw my hands up into the sky. That's why he got the balloon from the rafters? I nodded, which provoked Tammy to nod her own shaggy head. I glowered at the dog. Was she making fun of me or trying to help me out? He really likes me? Lots. That's why he's in a tree. Jessica's mother called, Young man, can you help me? I wanted to continue our important conversation, but I knew that good manners required me to respond. A mother who was in need. I was on my feet in a flash and at her side before she got off the ladder. The front window was shiny clean and reflected the blue sky of Pinkerton. My own reflection appeared in the window. With all that blue around, with a puffy cloud in the distance, I had to admit, I wasn't such a bad-looking chimp. It's going to start getting warm, Jessica's mother issued this weather report as she took a few steps backward and, hand shading her eyes on tiptoes, looked up at the roof. Ugh. I knew what was coming. Since Jessica's father was out playing golf, I was asked in the sweetest voice if I would be so kind as to turn on the valve of the evaporator cooler. I would be honored, I responded courteously. For the third time, I struggled up a roof with pliers in my back pocket. The task was a cinch. It wasn't as necessary to use the pliers. I just twisted the valve with the sound of the water filled the copper tubing. Mission accomplished, I thought, and I stood for a minute, hands on my hips, admiring the view. She's coming, Joey, I shouted in my imagination. She'll be there soon. Jessica and her mom were watching from down below. I felt bravery circulating in my blood, courage, too, and vision. I stared far off into the distance. Macho me! I puffed out my chest. Here's where I went wrong, because the expansion of my puny rib cage shifted my balance. Two shingles peeled away from their tacks, and once again I found myself sliding toward the edge. This time I didn't panic. I raised my hands for balance, bent my knees, kept my bodies loose as I sailed from the roof with two shingles plastered to the bottom of my shoes. Like a cat, I had lost another life, but had six more. That was great! Jessica screamed in admiration. You should go out for gymnastics. Are you okay? Jessica's mother asked. Yeah, I think so. I kicked the shingles from my soles. Jessica's mom disappeared into the house, returned with glasses of lemonade, my reward for hard work. Jessica and I enjoyed our drinks on the front lawn. My legs buzzed from my fall. Jessica's heart, I could see, was fluttering. She was telling me about her first gymnastics competition when she was 6, but I sensed she was dwelling on my amigo, Joey. I have to show you something, she said suddenly. What? She jumped to her feet, ran inside, and returned with her hands behind her back, concealing what I hoped was a banana or an apple. Those pretzels I had devoured an hour ago were nothing but a pile of sawdust in my stomach. I saved it, Jessica claimed as she sat down, legs crossed effortlessly. The balloon. Most of the helium was gone, but it was still plump as a squash. I was delighted. This was a love object that had brought them together, a sacred keepsake that cost next to nothing. Penny, maybe? But the memories! You like him, too? She pulled a handful of grass from the lawn and threw the clippings in the air. I don't know. He's kind of cute. Cute, I thought. Joey is cute? He's really brave, too. I bet he would have been great in gymnastics. Why don't you call him? I gave her the number to his mom's cell phone. She hid her giggly smile behind her hand. He'll like it. He's got nothing to do but listen to the birds in the trees. This was an outright lie because I knew Joey was living like a king among those leafy branches. Jessica pulled at a patch of grass around her feet until that part of the lawn was nearly bald. Can I tell you something? She asked. I was accustomed to no one ever telling me anything. I was riveted to hear her secret. I'm going to quit gymnastics and get into cheer. I tried to look delighted. What do you think of that? I swallowed and timidly said, Jessica, what do you mean, cheer? Her mouth opened in disbelief, revealing a wad of blue gum. She flicked a handful of grass at me. It's Cheerleading. I can't believe you. Cheer is like when you have a football team and they're down 110-3 and the cheerleaders get out there and they rev up the team when they're down. Oh, them, I remarked lightly, realizing that cheerleading was Jessica's new passion. Oh my gosh, how did the team get down 110-3? Jessica bellowed that I was dumb, but good dumb. I gave the whole situation some serious consideration. It seemed like Jessica was quitting gymnastics and Joey no longer wrestled. In one of the myriad folds in my brain, I secreted a tactic for bringing them together. Could Jessica and Joey be a team? A cheerleading team? I imagined Joey letting Jessica stand on his strong shoulders and flipping her through the air. From the phone at Jessica's house, I called Joey. Joey, it's me, I barked brightly. In the background, I could hear a blender whizzing in an incredible force. He was concocting an afternoon smoothie. My stomach growled. Ronnie! The blender stopped. Where are you? You want to come over for a smoothie? I've been playing chess. Joey had gotten a computer chess game for his 13th birthday and had yet to win against the mighty competitor. I finally won, he bragged with pride. Shut up. Yeah, I did, honest. I congratulated him. I'd be there in a flash, I promised, and asked him to please save some smoothie for me. Jessica got permission to go see Joey, the boy in the tree, as her mother described him. On the walk to Joey's house, we decided to play the game of seeing how long we could keep the balloon in the air. Don't let it fall, Jessica screamed. The balloon was semi-deflated as I patted it artfully. Jessica, a true athlete, kept the balloon from touching the ground several times. Thus we marched over to Joey's house, full of happiness and laughing when Tammy saved us from certain death. We pretended the balloon was a bomb by picking it up, poking it back into the air.